My name is Cynthia. I'm sitting in the sweltering heat of the New Orleans probate court, watching my brother, Ethan, spin a web of lies to the judge about why I should be locked away. He's using terms like mentally unstable and a danger to herself with the same smooth precision he uses in his high and real estate business. Behind him, my parents, Victoria and Henry, are dabbing at their eyes with monogrammed handkerchiefs, playing the part of broken, upper-class victims to perfection. I don't scream. I don't protest. Instead, I gently touch the small, cool recorder in my pocket and recall the text Ethan sent me earlier. We're doing this for your own good. In that moment, I knew that good was just a cover for their greed. Before I tell you how Ethan's scheme fell apart in the next 10 minutes, I want to know who's out there, on the side of truth. Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from. To understand why I sat there silently, letting them paint me as a crazy woman, we need to go back 4 months to the reading of my grandfather's will. We were gathered in the opulent study of our family mansion, a room filled with the scent of aged mahogany and generations of secrets. My grandfather, a shrewd old man who had built a fortune in the shipping industry, left a will that shocked everyone except me. He left the entire New Orleans estate, worth $20 million, and his private collection of rare maps solely to me. To Cynthia, the quiet one, the artist who spent her days in the attic studio, Ethan didn't get a cent, and neither did my parents. Ethan had always been the golden child. In my parents' eyes, he was the future of the family, the successful real estate mogul, the charmer who could close any deal. I was just the background, there to make him look good. But grandfather saw through Ethan's facade. He knew about Ethan's bad investments and the debts he was trying to hide. He knew that if he left the estate to Ethan, it would be sold off in a heartbeat to pay off his creditors. After the lawyer left, the act began. My mother, Victoria, dried her tears instantly and fixed me with a cold, calculating look. She told me that Ethan was in trouble, that he owed money to dangerous people, and that we had to sell the estate immediately to save him. She called it protecting the family name. As I looked at them sitting on the plush leather sofas, I finally saw the invisible chains that had bound me my whole life. I realized I was never really a daughter, I was a pawn. Whenever Ethan failed, it was my fault. When he made a bad business deal, I was the distraction. I was the scapegoat in a game rigged for him to win. But grandfather had given me the power, and for the first time, I refused to give it up. I told them no. I said I wasn't selling the estate to cover Ethan's debts. Instead, I planned to turn the mansion into a retreat for artists struggling with mental health issues, a place where they could find peace through their art. The silence that followed was deafening. I watched my father's face turn beet red. Ethan let out a cold laugh and looked at me with pure hatred. You'd rather help strangers than your own family? He sneered. I looked him in the eye and said, yes. Because those strangers deserve a chance, and you deserve to face the consequences. That was the moment the war started. By refusing to play my role, I became the enemy. I knew they wouldn't let me keep the estate, but I didn't realize how far they'd go until I entered my studio one day. The studio, which had been my haven since I was 20, usually smelled of oil paints and parchment. But that day, it smelled of something sharp and metallic, like blood. The easel was knocked over, and the map I'd been restoring for months was shredded. A bottle of ink had been thrown at it, creating a chaotic mess that looked like a crime scene. Look what you've done, Ethan said, stepping out of the shadows. He was dressed in a tailored suit, his face a mask of feigned concern. I tried to tell Mom and Dad you were losing it, but they didn't believe me. This is a classic case of a mental breakdown. I wanted to scream that he was lying, that he'd done this to frame me. But then I realized it was a trap. If I fought back, I'd play into his hands. So I went quiet, let them take me away without a fight. The next 72 hours in the psychiatric ward were a test of my will. They took my belongings, put me in a room with harsh fluorescent lights, and had doctors come in to evaluate me. But I stayed calm, knowing that every hour of my silence was a crack in Ethan's story. My friend, Lily, got me out. She came armed with my medical records, proving I had no history of mental illness and a threat to sue the hospital if they didn't release me. When I walked out into the sunlight, I expected another attack. Instead, I found my parents on my front porch. Victoria was wearing a simple cotton dress, and Henry was holding a pie. They looked remorseful, telling me they didn't know Ethan had gone so far, that he'd lied to them about my mental state. They invited me to a reconciliation dinner at the mansion, promising to cut Ethan off from the family. Part of me wanted to believe them, but as an artist, I could see through their act. The timing was too perfect. Ethan was their investment, their ticket to social status. They'd only turn on him if he cost them money, and right now, I was the one standing in their way. I decided to go to the dinner, but not as a guest. I took a modified antique locket with a hidden camera and microphone. At the dinner, Ethan was sitting at his usual place, calm and unrepentant. My parents played the perfect hosts. When my father poured the wine, I smelled the sweet almond scent of a sedative. I pretended to drink, then coughed it into my napkin. As I pretended to be drugged, they started whispering about their plan to force me to sign power of attorney and declare me mentally unfit. The camera in my locket recorded everything. In court the next day, Ethan testified smoothly, painting me as unstable. My parents supported him with fake grief. Just as the judge was about to grant the conservatorship, my lawyer presented the video. Their voices filled the courtroom, revealing their plot. Ethan panicked, shouting deep fake, but then a second video appeared, showing him destroying the map to frame me. That act triggered a clause in the will. By damaging the family's precious map, Ethan forfeited his right to any inheritance. The judge ordered all three of them arrested. 6 months later, the estate reopened as an art retreat. I kept the shredded map as a reminder of my survival. For the first time, I walked forward, free from the lies of my family.